So, the Miami Grand Prix, it's a controversial inclusion on the Formula One calendar. I very much describe it as a Marmite race. You either love it being there or you hate it. It is everything right with modern Formula One and everything wrong with modern Formula One, depending on your particular viewpoint. But what do I think of it personally? Well, honestly, I'm not a big fan. Personally, I am not a big fan of it overall. There are some plus points to it. It does definitely cater to a certain type of crowd. But for me personally, if I was going to a Formula One Grand Prix, Miami would be near the bottom personally. It's not one that I would personally want to go to. It's well run, it's well organised from what I'm hearing. A lot of people are praising that, especially recently. It's really upped its game when it comes to the whole event package, not just a Formula One Grand Prix, but all the things outside of it as well, the DJ sets, all the dance music and everything like that. It is very much the Miami experience, as a lot of people do put it. And I understand there is certainly a market for that. In fact, the Miami Grand Prix does actually contribute around $400 million to the local economy in that part of Florida, which is of course a positive for the area. Let's not get away from that fact. In fact, 275,000 people flooded through the gates in Miami across the Grand Prix weekend in 2025, which is a lot. That is a huge attendance. So you can't say that people aren't attending it, but money is one of the most important things here. Of course, we have to talk about the cost of this event, because one of the first videos I did last year actually around the Miami Grand Prix weekend was how extortionate some of the food and drink options were in the 2024 race. Quite frankly, it was absolutely farcical. But you know, there's a certain crowd for that. People will pay it, but that doesn't make it right at the same time. However, Miami have reduced the overall cost of attending the event. In 2025, for example, a single day grandstand ticket did start from $65 for free practice on Friday. But if you want to go to the race on Sunday for a grandstand ticket, that was starting at around $505. Now, if you wanted a 3-day ticket for general admission, the cheapest possible ticket, you're talking $430, which, when you compare it to somewhere like Silverstone, is around the same kind of price as that. It is around the most expensive Grand Prix on the calendar, with the exception, the very notable exception, of the Las Vegas Grand Prix. Miami is probably number 2, around where Silverstone is. And now you might be saying, well, that's ironic. You're criticizing Miami for being really expensive when it's around the same price as what Silverstone is for a grandstand ticket, which, yeah, you might call me a bit of a hypocrite for that, and I understand that, but there's a big difference. Silverstone is one of the best racing circuits in the world. The British Grand Prix is world renowned for being an incredible race. I know, I've been twice. I absolutely loved it. It's incredible. I would still say, on the price side of things, it's steep, it's expensive, and to an extent, if you compare it to other weekends like, I don't know, Monza, Spa, these other great tracks in Formula One, you would have to argue that Silverstone is expensive, and maybe it doesn't warrant that amount of money for a ticket, but it is sold out every single time because the people in the UK and beyond come there in their droves. Miami, on the other hand, is not that same kind of level. It doesn't have the history. It's only been on the calendar since 2022. Yes, it's a decent race. You see some okay races there every now and again. The sprint race this year was excellent. The Grand Prix race itself, bit uneventful, to be honest. I actually didn't even watch the whole thing. I tuned out for a bit. I got bored. It wasn't particularly entertaining. This is coming from a hardcore F1 fan. I thought it was done and dusted. As soon as the McLarens got past Verstappen, that was kind of it, really. As soon as the rain looked like it wasn't going to appear, then there wasn't really any reason to keep watching. That's just my opinion, though. But yeah, I mean, it's interesting because the amount of money that people are spending is a lot for this event. It's not completely obscene. If you want to go for some of the high class packages and stuff like that, then that's one that gets into stupid money. But it's definitely got better in this regard. And a user on X actually went even further than me. They pointed out something very interesting. John Pompolino put on X, the Miami Grand Prix has signed an extension with F1 to keep the race going until 2041. And a fun fact from that is that the Miami Grand Prix generates 25% more in ticket revenue for the Hard Rock Stadium, which of course the circuit surrounds, than all of the games of the NFL team, the Miami Dolphins. That's how much money they're raking in from that. That's incredible. And NFL is a very expensive sport. The money going around in the NFL, in American football, is absolutely incredible. So that shows you what level Miami is on when it comes to F1. And someone replied, plug-in maybe said, The Miami Grand Prix is everything that's wrong with modern F1. Fleecing the fans, bland track with no character, fawning over celebs. Then you can't see most of the racing because the cameras are positioned so poorly. Yeah, I mean, it's not the best viewing experience on the telly. Again, that didn't help. That's part of the reason why I switched off, to be honest. It wasn't great. But yeah, I mean, then there's the whole celebrity culture and everything. And I get you're going to get this. We get this in Las Vegas. We get this in every Formula One Grand Prix to an extent now, I would say. You know, it's just natural. Formula One has grown immeasurably, and particularly in the United States. So you're always going to get a lot of celebrities coming over for America and viewing the race. Again, that's nothing new. We've seen it for a very long time. You know, it's nothing completely unique in modern times. But I do think right now it's got to that stage where there will be some people, and I'm not naming names, but you can probably guess who, but there'll be some people who purely go there for the gram. They go there for the likes. They go there for the follows. They go for the engagement and the reaction. That's what they do. They don't go necessarily for the Formula One. And you know, that is their choice. They've paid their money. They can go there. They can do what they want as long as they're not causing any harm to anybody, as long as they're not disrespecting anybody. It's fine. There's not a problem with that. But it does kind of rub you up the wrong way a little bit. You know what I mean? There are some people there that clearly don't have a clue about F1. And again, I'm not naming names here, but it does kind of seem, and this might seem a bit old man yelling at Claudia, and I apologize if it does, but to use a phrase which I'm going to regret saying, this isn't the Formula One that I know and love. It just isn't. If Miami dropped off the calendar tomorrow, I wouldn't care. I wouldn't miss it at all. I'd much rather have a so-called proper racing venue. I just would. That's just me. I know I'm not the only one. There is an appeal to this event. People go in their droves. You know, people might criticize the ticket prices, and I do think they are very high for what it is. But people go. People enjoy it. That, you know, their model is working. They're now confirmed to go all the way till 2041 on the F1 calendar. So, you know, whatever they're doing, it's working. We can criticize them all we want, but it's working, and they're never going to change it. So whatever it's working, it's not going to alter. But Las Vegas, on the other hand, I think that the future of that event is very much up in the air. That is not making them money. Miami is, though. So we could see another event in the US instead of Las Vegas eventually, but Miami is not going anywhere. Miami is going to be on the F1 calendar for at least another 15, 16 editions until 2041. You know, make of it what you will in the comments, guys. I want to hear what you have to say about this. And yeah, we'll see you soon for much more content on the world of Formula One. Maybe less rants, who knows? I don't know. But yeah, have a great time wherever you are in the world, guys, and we'll see you soon for many more videos just like this.